I think I was, again, either in high school or maybe a freshman in college. If I was in college, I was back in Las Vegas for holiday break. My sister and I went to the Culinary Union because we'd heard that you could make $300 on New Year's Eve and maybe even more with tips. So we worked on New Year's Eve for a couple of years. The performer in the dinner shows was Old Blue Eyes himself, Frank Sinatra. The protocol was that you had to bring all of the dinners or as many as possible out to the table at once, and each table had probably 10 people. So that was like super hard for my sister and me. I mean, I'm thin and 5'7", or maybe was 5'6" then, but my sister is only 5'2" or so. Anyway, I remember that carrying those heavy trays was really hard for me. The room was also very crowded with tables very close together, so that also made it more difficult. Waitstaff were not allowed in the room when Frank was performing. So I remember being in the kitchen and hall area, waiting for the show to be over when he was performing. It was really loud in the back, so we couldn't really hear him singing, so I guess I didn't really meet him, but he was in the same ballroom as me. It's weird, because Vegas is generally known to be a tipping town. I mean, most people know that you tip in Vegas, and the waitstaff, valet drivers, bartenders, cocktail waitresses, car wash attendants, etc. But, for some reason, both my sister and I made hardly any tips during those New Year's Eve Frank Sinatra dinner shows. I suppose maybe it was because we were new to ballroom service, and, as I explained, it was really hard to carry out heavy trays. Shoot. Or maybe they thought we were bussers and didn't need to be tipped because we looked so young. Or perhaps they thought the tips were included in the ticket prices. I don't know, but we were still happy with the pay. If I recall correctly, mind you, this was a long time ago, we made over $300 each. My sister and I started working when we were 16 and 15 years old. I was a year younger than her. Our first jobs were at the local newspaper. I think we worked in subscriptions. Later, she took on other jobs such as working at a movie theater, and I worked at places such as McDonald's and Taco Bell. I must have been 14 or 15 years old when my sister worked at the movie theater. That was just a few blocks from our house. I used to go visit her in the theater and play video games such as Asteroids and Pac-Man for hours. About the time I was in college, supporting myself with 3 or 4 jobs at a time, my sister was working in the casinos. After many years working as a card dealer and then supervisor, she became a VP of marketing, taking care of Asian high rollers. That was when she had endless tickets to top entertainers such as Elton John, Natalie Cole, Barbra Streisand, Rolling Stones, boxing matches, etc. Often, either the high rollers or their spouses would like extra people around, sometimes to eat with them, sometimes to go shopping with them. The casinos would fly the high rollers around on private jets, and I went along a few times. Sylvester Stallone and Eddie Murphy at the same party. When I was in high school, I went to a party with some friends in Las Vegas at which we knew there would be many celebrities. My sister was a marketing executive with the casinos, which means she takes care of high rollers, so she always had event tickets. Maybe I was in college at the time. In any event, I was a teenager and quite thin, as I am now, and I am not tall. I was probably around 5'6" or 7" at the time. I'm giving you these stats because one of these celebrities' bodyguards did something during the party. I saw Eddie Murphy in the dimly lit and rowdy room and made a beeline for him. Before I got close, a bodyguard, who probably weighed 380 pounds, pushed me so hard I think I landed backwards in a chair. I can't remember exactly what happened, but I know he pushed me really hard and I went flying back. Eddie Murphy saw it and had a smirk on his face. I was in shock for a few seconds, but then decided that he wasn't worth meeting anyway, especially if his bodyguards are going to be potentially hurting teenage girls who weigh about 98 pounds. Mind you, this was before I graduated from law school. But someone who was super warm and not surrounded by any posse or anyone at all at the same party was Sylvester Stallone, who was and is a much more well-known actor. He let my friend and I take photos with him and was very gentle and approachable. He was really patient and so nice. We love Mr. Stallone. One time, I was hanging out with a bunch of attorneys at the Hard Rock Cafe during a holiday. We had just seen a bunch of A-list performers, but we had decided to either go to another venue or were thinking of maybe going home. Anyway, we were standing outside by the entrance, I think waiting for some of our other fellow attorneys to exit the Hard Rock when Duran Duran were entering. I came face to face with Simon Le Bon, Nick Taylor, Nick Rhodes, etc., because we were standing right by the entrance. I totally love 80s music and love Duran Duran, but I guess I was not being authentic, which would have meant gushing and melting, but instead was trying to act cool and aloof as the band members walked by. I didn't even smile. So regret that. Many moons ago, I was in the train station in London having come from Paris when I saw several bodyguards or security personnel on a platform near another train. I slowed my pace to see who they were guarding. After some seconds passed, an incredibly elegant Amazonian-height dark-haired beauty emerged from a train door. I didn't recognize her, but thought she had a bright aura. Then I saw the back of a scrawny man in jeans. It appeared they were a pair. I thought, why in the world is that statuesque phenom with that short little skinny man? Then, the man turned around with the familiar wrinkles on his cheeks and those famous lips. It was Mick Jagger. The woman was Loren Scott. I wanted to stare more, but I had to rush to meet my friends. So, I just caught them for a few brief seconds. She really was quite striking. I've also seen Mick Jagger other times in concert with thousands of others, which were altogether different experiences. The Stones definitely put on a good show. A long time ago, when I had a tighter bum and more hair, I was at LAX on my way to Heathrow when I was in an elevator with 3 other people. One of them was Morgan Freeman. I was young and flustered and dug out a checkbook from my purse and asked Mr. Freeman if I could get his autograph. He looked at me kindly and said, "How about we just shake hands?" When he left the elevator, the other 2 people asked me who he was. I wish I had told him that he was one of the people who taught me English because I used to watch The Electric Company. For those of you who don't know the story, in 1997 during a boxing match, Mike Tyson, frustrated at Evander Holyfield's repeated headbutts, retaliated by biting Holyfield's ear. If you look in the audience, you will see many recognizable faces, including Lawrence Fishburne. I didn't know what happened when it happened, there just seemed to be a lot of commotion. So, because I have OCD fears of contamination, I think I was really concerned about fluids coming onto me. That was one crazy fight.